Hello YouTube, my name is Nero and today we have some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and another episode of Dear Nero, which of course is the weekly series here on my channel where subscribers send me in fan mail and or fan questions and I do best to answer them. To cover on the gameplay today, we're playing some more zombies this week for this episode. We're going to be playing some zombies in a kind of like a random public match. These are people I don't know, I'm not in a party chat with them or anything. And I noticed that a couple of the players here are doing the Easter egg. They're doing a lot of different things setting up and that's actually kind of great for me as somebody who doesn't quite understand Rise and Draw quite yet. I know the majority of the map. I know how to get the power on. I know where all the perks are. I know how to set up pack a punch and things like that. But these guys were doing it ridiculously quickly, like way faster than I planned on doing it. And so everything was kind of done for me and it was kind of great. So I was definitely pretty happy about that. But we get some cool guns. We have a lot of fun. We get to a pretty good round and hopefully you guys will all sit back, relax, and enjoy the gameplay while we go over this week's questions for this week's episode of Dear Nero. The first question is going to be coming in from Ghost619 here on YouTube. And it's good to see Mr. COD Ghost619 back here on the channel. It's nice to see your channel is continuing to grow, continuing to have success. Congrats to you, man. You definitely deserve it. But the question is going to be, Dear Nero, do you think we will ever get DLC guns / camos for Black Ops 3? All of the camos and guns that we got so far aren't downloadable, but are available in supply drops. So because of supply drops, do you think that every time they come out with new camos and weapons, they will always be in supply drops? We usually get DLC camos by now, and with guns, we usually get them with the map packs that we haven't yet with Black Ops 3. So I've actually gotten this question a couple of times. I've answered it on Twitter, I believe. It's a whole different business model. Black Ops 3 is a different business model than what we've seen in previous years. It's pretty similar to Advanced Warfare, but it's a different business model in general. So yes, people have been asking about like new camos. When are we going to get DLC camos? We've gotten DLC camos in Call of Duty all the time. Why don't we have them here in Black Ops 3? And the answer is we do have them. They're all of these supply drop camos. Instead of making these camos and releasing them periodically with these little customization packs like we've seen in previous years, I think Call of Duty Ghosts was a great example of that. And unlike that game, we're getting all of our camos in supply drops rather than having it come out in individual pieces of personalization packs. I mean, that's really the business model they're going with this year, and it's a pretty good business model, all things considered, for them. It's not very good for us, the consumer, because if you want a specific camo, you have to hope to get lucky. If you want a particular weapon, you have to hope to get lucky, whereas the more consumer-friendly way to go would be just making them directly downloadable with a set price next to them. Make it $1.99 to purchase a camo, which is typically the price. Make it $4.99 to purchase a gun, which was the price for, I think, the Ripper and the Maverick back in COD Ghosts. That'd be the best way to go, right? That'd be the best way for the consumer, but they've chosen a different business model, the random supply drop business model, which is going to earn them probably a lot more money in the long run, because it's like gambling, essentially. You know, you might not actually get what you want, so you're more likely to spend more money down the line in hopes to, again, try to get the thing that you want. And yeah, definitely a pretty evil business model in my own personal opinion, especially when they're putting actual weapons in those supply drops. But yeah, that's the business model. That's what they're going with. I don't think directly downloadable weapons is going to be a thing in Black Ops 3, as well as camos. I think everything's going to be thrown in supply drops, although you never know. You never know what the future will hold. We still have 3 more DLC packs to go. And they may actually put some weapons in there. That would be pretty cool rather than putting them in supply drops, my own personal opinion. But thank you, Ghost619. It's good to hear from you. Glad to see you're still active here on the channel, still commenting on just about every single one of my videos. I see you a lot, and I'm seeing your channel is continuing to have success. So congrats to you, man. You definitely earned it. The next question is going to be coming in from Gray Jackal on Twitter, who's going to write, Dear Nero, this is a big one that I got from a lot of people. Why did you change the intro? You've had the old one for a while, and I miss it already. The reason why I changed the intro was I just felt as though it was time. There's really no big story to it. I felt as though it was time to change the intro. The old one was, while it was nice for the time, it has definitely not aged well in my own personal opinion. There's a lot of artifacting in there. It's a template intro to begin with. I mean, that intro wasn't originally mine. It was someone else's who used it as a template, which was like your channel here, and then I purchased it for like $5 or $10. And all he did was replace the text with NerosCinema, and that was my old intro, right? There was nothing really fancy about it. There's a couple of them on YouTube with the exact same thing. It's like, I don't know, man. It was a cool intro. A lot of people like it for whatever reason, but the new one's definitely a lot better in my own personal opinion. I worked with a graphics artist to actually get it just right. We had, I think in total, 3, maybe 4 different revisions where he would, you know, come up with an idea, send it to me. I'd be like, oh no, change this, do that. And I sent it back. We did this little back and forth over the course of probably like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. Like, it took a long time. We actually put the intro together, and the worst thing I've seen in the comments of my videos is like, did you buy a template intro? What's this new thing? The old one's better. And it's like, well, first, the old one was a template intro. 2, this one is a lot better. And I don't want to like be mean to these people because maybe they just don't pay enough attention, but the new intro definitely has a lot of subtle references to the old intro, as was the NerosCinema as a whole. Did you notice the Xbox logo that kind of happens in there? Did you notice that the animation at the very beginning of the intro is similar to the old one inside the central part of the circle. It's, there's a lot of those subtle references in there, definitely for the untrained eye. Maybe you don't see that, but I think people are just get upset when something new happens or something changes, which is something you see a lot here on YouTube. If you decide to start a new series, people either love it or hate it. If you decide to end a series, people typically always hate it. If you decide to change your intro, change your outro, change anything like that, people tend to have very for whatever reason, passionate opinions on that particular thing. But ultimately, I just thought it was a good time to change the intro, and I like the way it looks. Again, I worked with the graphics artist. We spent several weeks putting this thing together, lots of revisions, until ultimately I was happy with it. And I, of course, paid him for it. I paid him for the outro as well, and a transaction well done, in my own personal opinion. I like the intro. It's custom made for me, and it's going to be the one going forward, so I definitely like it. And that's why I decided to change the intro. Just no real big reason. I just kind of thought it was time. The old one was a template. It had artifacting on it. It didn't age well, my own personal opinion. I thought it was time to change it. The next question is going to be coming in from Jesse on Twitter, who's going to write, Dear Nero, with all the copyright issues right now with YouTube, do you think that it could make people to use other new video sites? Now, that's an interesting one, but it's not something I think is going to be entirely too likely. YouTube has a monopoly. Make no mistake, right now, YouTube has a monopoly for this style of video. Now, obviously, for live streaming, they're trying to get into it, but they're really, they're not really that big of competitors to Twitch, although YouTube gaming is getting pretty popular. There, of course, are a lot of popular Call of Duty YouTubers who are doing live streams here on YouTube and such, but Twitch is still kind of king, and YouTube is definitely going to be king of the standard video format that we see here. Now, to make somebody, even a popular channel, try to switch off of YouTube, it's going to hurt that guy really badly, because there's no audience. That's the thing. YouTube has the audience. If you go somewhere else, regardless of how popular you are, you're going to be cutting off a giant portion of your audience from that content. So, for example, I can't even think of some of the other video services that are out there, but let's say YouTube 2 were to come up or something like that, right? And people are starting to make videos over there because they're promising higher CPMs and everyone's free to do whatever they want with copyright and whatever, and people start going over there. People aren't going to follow. People are already used to YouTube. This is where the majority of people already are. It's so hard to get people off of YouTube. The same way it's going to be hard to get people off of Twitch. There are competitors to Twitch, like MLG TV. You see a lot of people going over to MLG TV, but how many people that went over to MLG TV actually already went back to Twitch? Why is that? Because there's not that big of an audience over there at MLG.TV. Even though they had a lot of big names going over there, they ultimately couldn't get people there because people didn't want to migrate to a new website. People get attached to things, just like we talked about in the last question with my intro. People get attached to things. People don't want to move off of YouTube. They have a YouTube account. They already have their channel set up. They have their subscriptions set up. They're used to everything here on YouTube. They don't want to move on to some other website to watch, their favorite content creators when they can already watch their stuff on this other website. So, yes, there has been a lot of issues with copyright over the years. I fortunately have avoided just about every little section of it. I mean, I've got a couple of copyright claims here and there, which is typically like cinematic intro music to different games and stuff like that, like especially on my Let's Play channel. But all of that has been resolved. I would just contact the person like Jesper Kide, who did the soundtrack for Borderlands 1. Some of his pieces were caught up by the YouTube automated content ID system, and it would claim the videos essentially, and I was able to contact him directly, believe it or not, and they were able to actually go ahead and fix that for me. And that's been my experience so far. Is whenever it happens, it's an automated thing. I contact the person who holds the rights to that particular piece of content, whether it's a song or a visual or what have you, and it typically comes back to me. And typically it's just fine. They're like, oh no, that's not an automated thing. We don't know how this works. We're sorry that happened. Here, let's fix that for you. It's typically good. It typically works out pretty well for me. And of course, I'm the exception to the rule. I think there's a lot of people that are definitely having a lot of issues with copyright, like random claims on everything. And obviously that's an issue, but YouTube's going to work to fix it because YouTube needs content creators here on their site. And more importantly, we need YouTube to be working as well. So it's kind of like this little symbiotic relationship where we're going to continue to make videos here, and we're going to continue to try to make sure that we're not infringing upon other people's copyright. But at the same time, we got to make sure that if they are going to make a content ID claim, that it's actually a valid claim rather than just random automation, which has happened a number of times. Like, it's just, I've gotten random claims on my videos before for seemingly no reason, from seemingly nobody, from like some random person who says, no, Bob, that was my video. It's like, what? No, this is specifically it happened in Call of Duty Ghosts. Like, no, and it was really annoying because it was a very popular video. It's like, what was the video? I think it was the most overpowered gun in Call of Duty Ghosts, which was factual, by the way. It was, it came out at the very beginning of Call of Duty Ghosts put out that video. It was about the MSBS. If you guys remember that gun when that game first came out, it was ridiculously broken and overpowered. It was a 3-round burst rifle that would kill in 2 bullets at, I think, infinite range. Like, it was ridiculously broken. And I made a video about that, talking about how broken it was, and somebody made a copyright claim on the video for no reason, and it actually went through. And it's like, wait, what? It's like, how can you claim anything? It's my gameplay, it's my voice, it's my everything, you know? You have no right to this whatsoever. And it was annoying because that video was already very successful. It had like 100,000 views in like a couple of days or something like that. So there's definitely some downsides to the copyright claim system. Usually the rightful person would get the content back, but there's definitely an issue there at the same time, which is why a lot of MCNs, I feel like I'm going on too long with this, but there's a lot of MCNs like Machinima and Fullscreen and stuff like that that will actually work with channels like their bigger channels, I suppose, directly to make sure that doesn't happen. They would call them managed channels, where there's like an extra layer of content ID protection there, and I'm one of those channels on both NerosCinema and Nero's Let's Plays. That's pretty good, but will we ever move people off of YouTube? I don't see that happening, man. It might happen in the future, sure. I mean, I'm sure back in the day people thought MySpace was invincible and nobody would ever overtake MySpace. Maybe something does come along eventually that kind of overtakes YouTube, but I don't see it happening in the near future. Next up, we have a message from Mike from Pennsylvania, who's going to write, Dear Nero, I recently went back to World at War on 360, PC player here, to beat the campaign on Veteran. 360 has achievements, PC doesn't. I wanted to let you know that I was inspired to play through the campaign on Veteran by an episode of Dear Nero a few weeks back. Since I'm used to mouse and keyboard, now controller was hard to get back to. I am surprised I finished it in less than a week. I thought it would take months. Sorry if this is irrelevant. I just wanted to let you know that you're an awesome dude and I love your content. I try to catch every Dear Nero. Sincerely, Mike from Pennsylvania. So thank you, Mike, for sending in this message. I definitely enjoyed reading it. I'm always happy to see that people actually go back and try beating the World at War campaign. I put out the challenge to people occasionally, but not that many people actually take up the challenge and I would agree with them, like, who wants to take on like an 8-hour challenge? The vast majority of people don't, but the World at War campaign was, in my opinion, the hardest Call of Duty campaign for stupid reasons, and I think everybody agrees that it's stupid. They just throw grenades at you like crazy. Like, it's like a bug, or maybe they designed it that way. Like, why is it that way? I don't know. If you picture a typical Call of Duty campaign on Veteran, which I've beaten the most of Call of Duty campaigns on Veteran, how you beat it is you go slow, right? You go slow, you pick people off, you move forward, you get behind cover, you pick up more people off, you move forward very slowly, right? It just takes a lot of time. You have to really be accurate, and you have to really have a firm grasp of what's going on around you. The World at War campaign is the same way, but if you stand still for more than a second, suddenly there's like 4 or 5 grenades at your feet. Like I'm not even kidding. There are grenades everywhere. That's like the skill factor, I suppose. You have to be able to dodge grenades while trying to get cover to cover. It's ridiculous. And so it's definitely nice to see some people like to go back and actually try that out once in a while if they've never actually done it. And it's also an interesting point that you bring up in your message. You are a PC player, but you went back to World at War on the 360 because there's actual achievements there, and you don't like the fact that PC doesn't have achievements. Of course, you have Steam achievements, which I don't know if World at War has Steam achievements, but it's not the same, right? People that play on PC don't care about achievements, or people that play on like Origin, for example, don't care about achievements, but people that play on the Xbox care about achievements. People that play on the PlayStation care about their trophies, and I wonder why that is. I wish there was like a universal gaming system. I wish everything you did gaming wise would somehow contribute to like an overall gamer score, which I know is an Xbox thing, but I wish it was like a universal idea where anything I do on the Xbox or the PlayStation or the PC or the Wii or the Game Boy or something like that, I wish it would somehow tally up to one universal score. That would be cool, right? Because for whatever reason, I like achievements. I don't go for them in particular. I have like 29,000, just under 30,000 gamer score, something along those lines. Like, it's been like that for years. Like, I don't achievement hunt that much. I think a big reason for that is I play the majority of like single player games and stuff like that now on PC, because that's just like my preferred way to play. Mainly sports games and FPS games, like shooter games, I like to play on console, whereas everything else essentially I like to play on PC. And so as a result, I'm not getting a lot of like gamer score, but I miss getting achievements. That's one of the cool things about going through a game is like, oh, I'm gonna get this quick achievement right now and watch my gamer score go up, and you can like compare gamer score with your friends, and it's a cool system in general, right? I like that system, and I wish that there was like a universal. We talked about in yesterday's video how they're going to be trying anyway, or at least Microsoft has extended the invitation to make the Xbox One, the PC, and the PlayStation 4 all cross-platform and connect to each other online. It'd be cool if there was like somehow like a universal like tally, a universal score. I know a lot of people don't care about that, but me personally, I do. I think that would be sick, and I think a lot of other people would agree with that, because achievement hunting is actually a pretty fun way to play a lot of different games. The next question is going to be coming in from Jarno from Espoo, Finland, and please, man, I hope this is actually pronounced Espoo. Please let it be pronounced Espoo. I'm really hoping that's how it goes. But he writes, Dear Nero, how is your life without smoking going? I recently watched one of your old videos. I noticed that you sounded really tired and older than you were. Nowadays, you're sounding more clear, and I find it very enjoyable to listen to. I myself quit smoking 7 months ago, and I feel much more alive than I felt when I still smoked. P.S. I think you have the best COD content there is, and I love your videos. Jarno from Espoo, Finland. I don't even know if it's pronounced differently, or maybe his name's not pronounced Jarno. I don't know. Jarno? I don't know. But I really hope that your town, city, village is pronounced Espoo, because that's amazing to me. That's the coolest sounding name ever. So how's my life going without smoking? People periodically like to ask for updates on that. I'm still on the wagon, I guess, right? Is that the right expression? I sure hope it is. I'm still nicotine free. I've lost track now, and I'm liking it. I'm actually starting to finally take steps to actually become a healthier person. So when I quit smoking, I just quit smoking. I didn't actually do anything to try to reverse the effects or try to get healthier or anything like that. I just kind of continued about my day as normal without smoking. If you guys don't know, maybe some of you guys weren't aware, I was a smoker for 6 or 7 years, something along those lines. I quit a couple of years ago. I think I want to say it's been 2 years, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know. I'm actually trying to become healthy. I like going for walks in the woods, and I like jogging and stuff like that. Now it's actually something I'm starting to do more recently, especially now that winter is over and spring is coming. I just love the fact that I can actually get outside now, and it's not just cold and snowy and horrible like it usually is in Pennsylvania. And so yeah, I've been enjoying that. I've been really enjoying going on little hikes and stuff like that now, and I love the fact that I don't feel the need to smoke. I mean, I haven't felt it for a while, but people always ask for updates. I haven't felt the need to smoke. I haven't felt the need to want to go back or to get back on nicotine or to start smoking anything. I didn't want to start smoking cigarettes or cigars or pipes, or I've resisted the temptation to vape, even though seemingly everybody and their mother vapes now, including my mother. She vapes now. She quit smoking, but she started vaping, which I guess is a little bit better. I mean, some people say, oh, it's just as bad, if not worse for you. I don't know how that works. I don't know the whole system, but she's off nicotine, and she's been off nicotine for a while, which I'm definitely proud of her, because she's been smoking longer than I've been alive. I think she was a smoker for 30 years or something like that, but she still vapes, and she vapes non-nicotine vapor. So that's pretty good. I'm happy about that, and she's actually like me. She's out walking now, and she's doing all these things. And so when I see her, I always talk to her like, hey, how's it going? You still feel like you don't need nicotine? Do you still feel the urge to go back? And occasionally she feels like she would like to smoke, but she doesn't. And she's working on not drinking as much, which she wasn't an alcoholic or anything like that, but she would occasionally drink, and she's not even doing that anymore. She's going on like this full health thing, which is great. And it's good to see people trying to be healthier in their lives. It's nice. So yeah, I haven't smoked in ages. I don't have any plans to. I haven't started vaping or anything like that. And I'm actually jogging and walking through, going on hikes through woods and stuff like that now. It's fun. I like getting out in nature and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel a lot better, and you do too. And congratulations for being off of smoking for 7 months now. That's awesome. That's, any of you guys out there that smoke, I highly encourage you guys to quit. I know it can be hard. Obviously, I went through it. It was terrible. For me, I went down the line essentially. So when I quit smoking, I went to chewing tobacco, and then from chewing tobacco, I went to the nicotine gum, and then I went from nicotine gum to the patches. I essentially just went down the line until eventually I actually quit. I just kept trying to wean myself off of it essentially, and it was horrible. It was not fun. But for some people, it's easier than others. It just really depends. But for me, I definitely had to wean myself off of it, and eventually I did, and I think it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I'm also very happy that I didn't do it for that long, and I was able to get off it very early in my life. I'm 24 years old now. And that's definitely a good thing, and I'm happy about that, my decision. I'm happy where I am in life, and I'm happy that you quit smoking 7 months ago, and hopefully you continue to stay clean, even though it sounds like we're recovering drug addicts. But in some respects, I suppose we are. Nicotine is a hell of a thing, I suppose. So yeah, congrats to you, man. I'm happy you've been off it for 7 months. Keep on going, man. Once you get to that 1 year marker, it's going to feel great. But eventually, like me, you're just going to kind of lose track, and it's not even going to be part of your life anymore. So keep at it. The next and final question, he is going to write, Dear Nero, do you think that specialists should return in a future COD game? Personally, I think they are a way of substituting panic knifing. It's kind of a weird comparison, but I feel that you can whip out a specialist in panic and easily get kills. I personally don't want to see them back, but I don't mind them in Black Ops 3. What do you think? Thanks, Jacob from Michigan. So, Jacob, you've got yourself a very interesting topic there, and I would like for you guys to answer this for me in the comment section below. do you want Specialists to return in a future COD game? Now, before I give my thoughts, before I give my opinions, I would like you guys to write down that comment. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds here. I'm just going to fill the air with nonsense here. Just ramble on for a couple of seconds here, giving you time to go ahead and write your comment as to whether or not you would like to see Specialists return in future Call of Duty games. All right, got that down. All right, now should Specialists return in a future Call of Duty game? Yeah, probably. I would like to see them return, I think, in future Treyarch games. Now, this is kind of an answer that I kind of gave last year when people talked about exosuits. Would you like to see exosuits in every single COD going forward? And I'm like, no. Would that be something I like to see in Sledgehammer games? Sure. I mean, why not? Make that a mechanic, I suppose, in these Sledgehammer games. Adds definitely a little bit of flavor, I suppose. If every year the developers have their own special thing, their own twist, their own feel to the game, that'd be interesting. Every time we get a new Sledgehammer game, there's exosuits. That's just a thing you can expect. Every time we get a new Treyarch game, there's going to be Specialists in there. Maybe that's something we can expect. Now, there's definitely arguments to be made either way for Specialists, I feel, because I think the argument could definitely be made that Specialists feel like support kill streaks in the support kill streaks like which we saw in Modern Warfare 3. And I think it's a fair comparison. When I die to somebody who kills me with gravity spikes, it's like, well, there's probably very little I could have actually done to avoid that. The guy turned the corner, he hit LB and RB at the same time, now I'm dead. That's what happened right there. So there's definitely varying Specialists. Some are a lot harder to use, some are a lot easier to use. Some of them can feel very obnoxious when you die to them. There's other ones that definitely take a lot more skill, and they're very rewarding when you actually get kills with them. So I'm a bit undecided as to what I feel about Specialists. Now, if you were to ask me the same question last year with exosuits, by this point in the year, I was already pretty much over the idea of exosuits, right? The honeymoon phase for me was over. Essentially, I'm like, all right, at first these were really cool. It was a whole new innovative feel for the Call of Duty franchise. It felt different and it was nice. I liked it, but at this point, I'm just tired of shooting people flying around in the air. This doesn't feel like Call of Duty that much to me anymore. Obviously, it still feels like COD, but it's a much different version of COD that I don't like as much. That's why I didn't actually put a ridiculous amount of playtime in Advanced Warfare as compared to previous years. And so by this point in the Advanced Warfare lifecycle, I was already kind of over the idea of exosuits. But here in Black Ops 3, I'm not over the idea of Specialists. I think they're an interesting idea. I would love to see what they have planned going forward. Will we see that infamous 10th Specialist coming forward? I don't know. Probably. I would definitely estimate that at least one of them is going to come out. I have no idea how they're going to do it, and I definitely look forward to the pardon the French shitstorm that we're going to be seeing if they actually decide to make a 10th Specialist behind like a slot machine paywall, i.e. supply drops. That would be hilarious. That would definitely be pretty bad. It would be very interesting to watch from the outside in, but that would just be horrible. I think everybody would have very strong opinions on that, but they may do it. That's a very real possibility. So we'll have to see what they're going to be doing with Specialists going forward. It would be interesting to see, are they going to make this a Treyarch thing? Is Infinity Ward going to follow suit and have a Specialist idea going forward? We might see that in November. We might see that with some of the marketing material that we see in the coming months even. What are they going to be doing with the next Infinity Ward game? We have no idea. Will there be Specialists? Maybe, maybe not. And I think I'm pretty much undecided as to whether or not I would want to see Specialists in that next game, because again, I like them in some respects and I don't like them in other respects. So for example, I like the fact that there's a lot of skill involved with certain ones of them. There's a lot of skill involved with trying to determine whether or not you want to actually use your combat focus at that particular point, and whether or not it's going to greatly benefit you, or you're just going to get shot in the side immediately and just waste it. There's other ones that are sometimes annoying, like dying to gravity spikes. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? The guy walked through a room, he LB and RB'd me, and he killed the whole room. I mean, he wins, right? We actually used to make jokes when we would play Hardpoint. Whenever I had gravity spikes available to me, I would count down, like, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I win. And I'd walk into a room and press it and blow up the entire hard point and just kill everybody there. And so take your thought on, I suppose, on the idea of Specialists in Call of Duty. Maybe they can tweak them, maybe they have some new ideas for them. I don't know. Right now I think they're pretty fun. I think they're definitely a flavor piece for Black Ops 3. They're one of the big reasons Black Ops 3 is Black Ops 3, and I can't really imagine the game without them. So would I like to see them going forward? Sure. But would I be okay with them not being in the game going forward? Sure. I'm okay either way. So I'm very undecided, I suppose, as to whether or not I would like to see them return in future Call of Duty games. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be my time. I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of Dear Nero. And if you did, please drop me a rating. And if you guys would like to submit your questions for the next episode of Dear Nero, simply send me a personal message here on YouTube. It's very simple, guys. Go to my YouTube channel, go to the About section, and from there, you will find the Send Message button. Alternatively, if you would not like to do that, you can also write me on Twitter at NeroTweets. And please just use the hashtag Dear Nero. That way I can just search on Twitter the hashtag Dear Nero, and I can find all the questions right there, and it's just very simple. It makes it easier for me, guys. And so if you could go ahead and do that, you may be featured on the next episode of Dear Nero, and that sounds very fun. So hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Drop me a rating, and hope you guys all have a wonderful day.